I'd like to say something about the overall region that we call today Jammu and Kashmir, and also some of the areas immediately surrounding today's Jammu and Kashmir. The history of this area is very ancient, and kingdoms have come and gone from this area. But let us say in the modern era, last 200-300 years, the consolidation of Jammu Kashmir region followed from the time of Ranjit Singh, and the Sikhs and the Kashmiris came to some kind of an understanding as to who would control what area. So the name here is to think about is Gulab Singh, Zorawar Singh, etc., who were military people and rulers who consolidated this large area. To simplify matters, we should look at the dominions of Maharaja Hari Singh in 1947. That is, that we say, the beginning of modern Kashmir. A century before, it is interesting to note that the dominions of the Kashmir kings also included a portion called Chitral. Chitral is today a part of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. It was a princely state which acceded to Pakistan on 14th August 1947, like many of the other princely states in the Indian subcontinent. Now, importance of Chitral further is that it is immediately contiguous to a small strip of land called Wakhan Corridor. Now, this Wakhan Corridor is also interesting. It almost looks like a tiny sliver extension of Afghanistan, which effectively separates the landmass of undivided India and Russia. The British probably put this Wakhan Corridor in place because they did not want a direct geographical border between their Indian Empire and Russia. But Chitral, which is more easily accessible from Kashmir, from Punjab, etc., does have contiguity with Wakhan Corridor, and in that sense there would be an easy passage from our parts into Russia. I mentioned this word contiguity, it's very important. Our Foreign Minister Dr. Jaishankar has recently mentioned, just a few days ago, that because of the bungling and misevents in 1947, we allowed Pakistan to have a physical contiguity with China through what is now we call POK and Gilgit Baltistan. So this comes now to the next part of my story. Now, Maharaja Hari Singh's dominions contained, in order, one Jammu, which is largely part of the Indo-Gangetic plain. Climatically, culturally, linguistically, Jammu is more like the North Indian plains than it is like the rest of Kashmir. Then we have the portion which we call Kashmir, which is really the very contentious part of the whole story. This is a small area of the valley which contains a small number of districts, informally called North Kashmir, South Kashmir. So North will have places like Kupwara and all that. South will have Anantnag and Srinagar and all those things. The Kashmir area is of course the heart of the trouble today, because this is the place which is contested by India and Pakistan. And the next point is that the Maharaja acceded to India in October 1947. So legally speaking, all his dominions now belong to us. This is established in international law. Let us forget about this UN resolution and all that. UN resolution is there, but so many things in the UN are not now listened to. So there is no point in Pakistan talking again and again about UN resolution. And anyway, the first condition of the UN resolution, namely that Pakistan withdraw all its troops from the area, is not being followed. But anyway, what happened and how did the LOC come into place is that there was a line of control. LOC means line of control, and a thin sliver of land between Kashmir Valley as controlled by us and the Pakistan province of Punjab is now what we call Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and what they call in Pakistan as Azad Kashmir or something like that. I am not sure exactly what name they call. Now this is a place which places like Muzaffarabad, Mirpur and all that, and large number of people who live there are of Punjabi ethnicity. And apparently the story goes, I don't have no way of verifying this, Nehru decided to stop the Indian advance because Sheikh Abdullah did not want any Punjabi speaking people in his concept of Kashmir. It might not have been difficult for us to take that, but you see, it is a colossal blunder. As Dr. Jaishankar said, it allowed them to have contiguity between POK and China, and this happens through the critical provinces of Gilgit and Baltistan. Now, both these sparsely inhabited places, provinces, are of extreme geopolitical significance in the whole world itself, not just India. It controls the water supply to almost more than half the world. It controls the land routes between all the major Eurasian powers, India, Russia and China. Whoever controls this Gilgit Baltistan area really will have a big say, not just in the history and progress of Eurasian countries, but actually over the whole world. Now, Gilgit, and incidentally, both these provinces are as of now inhabited completely by Muslims, and originally speaking, mostly they were Shia Muslims. The Sunnis came later, and they say probably sent by Pakistan. Pakistan is in illegal occupation of Gilgit and Baltistan. This also we should know. Now, Gilgit will lead straight to the Chinese areas of Xinjiang through what is called the Kunjarab Pass, and China has built an all-weather road connecting Xinjiang and illegally going through Gilgit and joining up in Pakistan itself. The main idea was that Belt and Road program, which was supposed to take China into the warm water port of the Indian Ocean, namely Gwadar in Balochistan. That is the aim of the Chinese game. They have already spent more than $60 billion on this venture. And let us remember also that the road through Gilgit, as far as India is concerned, is illegal. Now, Baltistan is another story. Baltistan is now directly contiguous to Indian Kashmir, Indian controlled Kashmir, I should say, because all of Kashmir is Indian. Indian controlled Kashmir. Now, Maharaja itself had built a road, all-weather road from Gilgit, from Kargil in the areas that we control to Skardu, which is the capital of Baltistan. This is a smooth road where vehicles can move quite normally. So we can probably go quite easily into Baltistan, although getting to Gilgit from there is more difficult because the mountainous terrain is too high. Let us not forget that some very high mountains like Nanga Parbat occur in that area. The easiest way to get to Gilgit actually is from northern Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Those roads are easier to get there. So whenever we discuss geopolitics and geostrategy of Kashmir area, we have to worry about geography. Geography is a dominant factor out here. Now let's go back to Baltistan. Why is Baltistan important? In 1963, Pakistan, again illegally, gave up a bit of land called Shaksgam Valley to China, which was originally part of Baltistan. Now the Shaksgam Valley again is of great strategic importance because it allows China to have an all-weather road from Tibet to Xinjiang. Think about it. Tibet is originally an autonomous region from China, which now China has swallowed up after 1960. And it can move its troops, men, materials, anything from Tibet to Xinjiang if it has control of the Shaksgam Valley. So, and to get there, they must go through a portion of what we consider ours, namely Ladakh. This brings me to the topic of Ladakh. Ladakh is an area where the exact borders between Tibet and India were not clearly demarcated by the British. The region was so sparsely populated and mostly shepherds would simply bring their animals this side, that side, all over the place. And there was no sovereign political border in the usual sense that we talk. We don't know what the Tibetans felt about it, but certainly after the Chinese took over Tibet, they have always contested the border in that part. There is something called McMahon line which the British people drew, and like many other lines drawn by the British, many aspects of that still keep getting contested. And probably realizing this, both India and China beyond a point will not push these matters further. But whatever it is, at the end of the day, by going through Ladakh, China can communicate between Tibet and Xinjiang. Otherwise that journey would not have been very easy or possible. It is certainly a much shorter way. So now you can see, I hope, that the whole matter of the entire area, we can call it J&K, Jammu and Kashmir, the entire region in the northernmost part of our country, the major importance and significance of these areas is not some religious conflict or something like that. In fact, that may almost be a smokescreen for various enemies of India to try to create havoc and trouble us. Whoever controls, let us say, the entirety of Maharaja Hari Singh's domains, probably with Chitral also thrown in, will become a very, very powerful country in the world in the next 25 to 50 years. So as a result, this is not something that Indian administrators will take emotionally. Certainly they are not doing it. I think they are thinking out every bit and piece of this puzzle. And India is really going to be the major beneficiary if something definitive is to emerge from this Kashmir area. And if we make any sort of gains for ourselves in this area, both China and Pakistan would be seriously disappointed. And this also means that one of the major reasons for China to go along with Pakistan would be removed if we are somehow able to interrupt this contiguity that the Foreign Minister Dr. Jaishankar has so clearly spoken about. Even a small place, if we can break that contiguity, then this would be a major advantage for India. So I hope in this short video recording, I have given you an appreciation for the geographical features of this area and also its geopolitical significance.